what do you really need? Do you need a huge, great business plan? Is it really just all about the executive summary or the video now? And you know, lots of people have successfully raised money with just a pitch deck.
I think I'll take that. This is what we do a lot of work on. You need all of it. I mean, traditionally it's a summary, the investor deck, the investment memorandum, is it compliant, is it, you know, with a credible advisor, P&L, supplementary information you get asked on the second, third, fourth investor meeting if you make the investment committee stage. There's a real deep dive into your business. If you haven't got that ready, you're just going to push the whole process back 2 months if that's not already thought about.
But just with angel investors, is it?
Any investors, you shouldn't treat any investing or asset class as any different from the other. Whether it's, you know, you're looking to pitch and provide accurate, detailed information in a presentable and timely manner. You shouldn't, you know, launch into it half-arsed with half-prepared information and then kind of draw the whole, you know, momentum thing that's going on, and it all grinds to a halt because you've been asked a curveball question and it takes you 2 months to get the information back. So, you know, the whole thing will just die a death. So there is a sort of checklist, you know, from a compliance point of view. Now the FSA, or the Financial Conduct Authority as they're calling themselves, are now really drilling down to make sure that all information is provided in a timely and secure manner. You know, as the entrepreneur, you have a fiduciary duty as a shareholder to provide stuff. You know, as the advisor and a lawyer, in your case, we're looking for transparency, and you know, if there's any litigation, if there's anything bad or any sort of skeletons in cupboards, we want to know about it, because it will all come out at some point in the process. And all this kind of, you know, all this pulling it out of you, you know, it's digital sources, my business partner's got that, this piece of information's over there. You need to pull all that together. We need someone with a professional eye that's going to look at that from a compliance, security, accounting, financial, marketing, sales, business model, commercial modelling. The whole thing needs to be, you know, pulled apart and almost put back together. And that's the level of granularity that we'd like to get to. Sometimes people are a bit more advanced than others, as I said. Some investors have already raised funding in the past, who know the drill, who know the process. Sometimes entrepreneurs have been investors themselves and know what to prepare. You know, so again, it depends on a case-to-case basis, but the answer to the question is you should not go into it and under-prepare, because all it's going to do is slow the whole process down later on when you get to the marketing or the negotiation phase.
Anyone else want to?
Yeah, I don't actually agree with that. Sorry. So I think that's absolutely true for certain types of businesses. So I raise money for medtech companies, typically in the £2 to £10 million range. We wouldn't go and get that kind of money without having all our ducks in a row. There's a set of documents that people expect. But most importantly, it's not just the documentation, it's expecting you to understand the answers to the questions they're going to ask. So they won't always be in a document. So that's about you being prepared as much as the document. There's another category of investing that goes on, which is the early stage category of investing. So the SEIS stuff, the sub 150k. And I think you can spend an awful lot of time putting a document together that is out of date the moment you finish it, or is irrelevant the moment you finish it. So I think there's a degree of flexibility in what you need to be able to present. And personally, nowadays, I used to hate getting a pitch deck without a proper business plan behind it. But nowadays, I take a more flexible approach to this and say, if you can articulate why this is a good investment opportunity, I will give you the time of day. I will listen, and I will accept this is an early stage company. You don't know all the answers, provided you accept that you don't know all the answers. And if it's really interesting, and I or one of my partners invest in you, we'll work together to fill in the gaps. And frankly, I think that's what you should be looking for from investors. It's great to get the cash, absolutely great, I can tell you now. A very good friend of mine invested $5 million in a business. The CEO was so delighted he bought himself a Bentley with it. So it is good to get some cash, but actually there's a bit more to it than that, I would say. So I'm not disagreeing in the context of what Barry's working on. I'm just saying that there's another view. A little earlier, just do not agonise for weeks, hours, months, whatever it takes to put together a really nice business plan that actually someone isn't going to give a great deal of credence to. know how you're going to make money then.
I think it's important to say that, you know, for a lot of you guys, the first port of call when you reach institutional investors is an analyst, a junior analyst type person who's very smart, but that's what they are. And then you work your way up through into the investment committee stage later on. So there's various kind of hoops you need to jump through to get to that. And these analyst guys essentially will tell you yes or no from the first pass. These are the gatekeepers to whether you make the final cut. So, you know, their job is to analyse and crunch your data, and they want all the information quickly and in a timely fashion. If you're going in at a more senior level, and you've got a personal relationship, or you've been introduced through a friend or through a mutual acquaintance, it's easier to circumvent a lot of that sort of red tape and sort of stages that you need to go through. So again, it sounds like we're fudging here, but it depends, you know, where you're hitting inside the investment organisation.
Yeah, when I look at a lot of earlier stage businesses, so I guess taking a step back, I think what we really look for, and I think you're ready when you really can say that you completely understand your business. And when your business is a 10 million turnover company, that means knowing a lot more detail than when your business is an idea on the back of a napkin. And yeah, we see a lot of people where the documentation consists of a forecast, pitch deck with a forecast with a hockey stick growth curve in it, which everyone always has, and a business model. And we've done a fair amount of seed investments based off of those, for instance. And I'd say this is very exciting. As you get more towards the growth cap, later stage stuff, then you start to look more at business plans. When you're looking at sort of seed stage investments, I've made a number of investments based off of, like I said, a pitch deck, a fairly thorough forecast model, and a dozen good conversations, for instance.
God, investors are so different. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, especially now crowdfunding's around. But in 2007, I pitched a billionaire called Peter Hargreaves, who founded a company called Hargreaves Lansdowne, and he invested in my last business. And I remember showing him my financial forecast, and he said, "Simon, you know what I do with these? Take 1 month from now, or maybe 2 months from now, and I'll look at it, and the rest is all bollocks." And he said, and he invested anyway. But this is what I think a business plan is for. Personally, I think it's for you. I think that this is what we do when we work with a business. We'll say, put together the full business plan, the one that investors are never going to read, the one that goes through all the details, just for yourself, and cover off. And then what you do is you take that business plan and you condense it into 10 slides. And those 10 slides pull off. But the point of this big business plan is that when they ask the question over one of these points, you got the answers. You figure that. You take that business plan, you turn it into numbers. That makes up one of your slides. And then in crowdfunding, you take that and you turn it into a mission video and an investor video. That's the things that we want. And then also tax structures and legals fits around that as well, which is a really important thing. But I think that the plan is really about, I'm an impatient business, and I've done businesses without a business plan as well. But every time I've done a business plan or a financial model, I hated every second of it. But at the end of it, I really got massive insight about my business and looked at things that actually really helped the business.
The other thing is, now you're all creative people in the tech and digital media space. The tools exist to present your business plan in such a creative way, a microsite, a mobile app, whatever. Get creative. It doesn't have to be a 32-page paper document that's bound and distributed or PDF document. I mean, there's a million things you can do to present you and the business and the team in a very, very creative way that can just cut all that in half as well. So again, agencies do it very well. We've sold a lot of digital agencies to McCarrickson and the big five, the publicists of this world. And they have vast armies of creative and design people, so they can present things brilliantly, swiftly, quickly, using video, use all kinds of stuff today to present, and get the message across.